Hello, everybody. Welcome to Level Up Podcast. This is Dr. Leland, your host for Level Up Academy. Are you guys ready for today? Let's go ahead and roll our intro. Welcome to Level Up Academy podcast, where we explore the diverse set of skills that can be applied across various industries and professions. Each episode will deep dive into the world of transferable skills, discussing topics like communication, problem solving, critical thinking, and more. Join us as we speak with experts in different fields and share stories of individuals who have successfully transferred their skills from one industry to another. Whether you're a recent grad, a mid-career professional, or someone looking to make a career change, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and let's discover how you can leverage your existing skills to excel in any industry. Welcome to Level Up Academy podcast. This is your host, Dr. Leland, a serial educator, an opportunities designer, and a compassionate leader. Are you a curious student, eager to learn new skills and make your mark in the world? Or are you a professional seeking to advance your career and unlock your full potential? You need to be equipped with effective soft skills like communication, problem solving, teamwork, and more. The Level Up Academy by Doc Leland bridges the gap between education and employment through transferable skills training. Get the soft skills you need to be more effective at work.
Lights are shining bright. My friends are in the club. We'll go all night. I see you in the back. The mood is right. If I just had your number, I would let you know how I feel. You walk up to me, stop dancing to the music and the taste. Like this was meant to be. Take my hand, I feel my heart beat, and I don't want this moment to stop. Time to go home. Don't want this night to end. Yeah, about time we stop pretending. Come home with me. Let's write a history. Tonight I'll make you see. It's all about us. It's all about us. As we're dancing close together, making out. It's all about us. It's all about us. There's some magic in your eyes, can't get enough. Feel your hands, the way you're touching me around my neck. Got chills down my back, you do it right. The way you're holding me, no, I don't want this moment to stop. No need to fight it, I cannot hide it. We won't regret it, so come with me, maybe we're meant to be. A perfect melody, and I don't want this moment to stop. Time to go home. Don't want this night to end. Yeah, about time we stop pretending. Come home with me. Let's write a history. Tonight I'll make you see. It's all about us. It's all about us. It's all about us. We're dancing close together, making out, making out. It's all about us. It's all about us. There's some magic in your.
And the Oscar goes to...
Did you see that 50 inspirational connections? Hello, everybody. Welcome to Level Up Podcast. So, today I have a special sunshine quotient, right? I call her like the doctor of sunshine. Seriously, she's a nurse also. So, just want to tell you that. That is the reason why this podcast is called The Balancing Art and Science of Mental Well-Being. If you don't know who I am Dr. Constance Leland. No, I am not a medical doctor. So if you need medical help, do not ask me. You will have issues. Okay. But if you want, in terms of business, anything from international economics, anything that you need, I am here for you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about 50 Inspirational because I still have questions on it. And I know there's a lot of procrastinators out there because you're stuck. You are in the analysis by paralysis area of your brain right now, right? Because you are putting a governor, okay, in your head that you can't do it or you want it to be perfect. There is no such thing. It's like having kids. I was talking to my husband about it and I said, I think we probably had kids like a little older. And he's like, no, it's perfect. And back in the days, my grandma said, she had 16 kids, by the way. She started at like 18 and she had a couple of twins. And she said, 18 was already old for back then. Usually they have like 17, having kids. I was like, Grandma, I was starting to drive at 17. And she was laughing at me because I had my kids, pretty much at 26 is when I had my firstborn, and then 29 when I had my second child. And they're, I have an adult child now, and my youngest is 15. And I was telling her, I was like, oh, I don't know, when she was still alive, I don't know how my kids will grow up. And she's always told me that doesn't matter how much money you have, how many degrees you have, how many cars you have to stay true to your core. And when you're looking for opportunities from external happiness, you'll never achieve that contentment, not complacent contentment. And most of us, is not, if not all of us, has a hard time meeting that expectations to ourselves. And I want you guys to think about if this was your last day today, right? The internet, if it's not going to go anywhere, but if it is your last day today and you actually are part of my network on YouTube and your video is out there and your great great grandkids is doing research in school and they Google you, or maybe at that time there's no more Google, it's something else, right? ChatGPT, whatever. And they Google you and they find you video and said, wow, that was my great great grandma. That was my great great grandpa. I'm going to adhere to what they say because 100 years ago, they were having this COVID-19 thing. And 3 years after that, even a year after the, pandemic, this is the message that they were giving me and the rest of the world. So I want you guys to think about that. I know it's futuristic, but what if, right? And you're missing that opportunity. And that is the opportunity I'm giving you to share to the world, right? It only takes one person. Yes, I know I don't have 2 million subscribers. You're like, who are you? You have no whatever. Listen, if you can Google somebody's name, you don't need 2 million followers, right? You only need one. You only need one. Believe me, I continued this podcast because of one email. And because of that one email, a lot of opportunities. I met amazing people, including the one today. Okay. So 50 Inspirational, it is due. There's only 2 things, by the way. Don't complicate it. It's not complicated. I made sure it wasn't complicated. 2 things. There's only 2 steps. 1, send in your application. It is only 8 questions, guys. And it's not like major questions. I just want to get to know you so I can highlight you better and support you better and elevate you better and shout you out on top of the world better. Okay. That is the reason that I have that 8 questions. The second one is a 5-minute video. Should it be 5 minutes? No, it could be 2 minutes. It could be 3 minutes, right? Doesn't matter. Just don't go over 5, okay? Because there's a lot. Just don't go over 5. But at least 5 minutes to tell your story. This is your impact and this is your legacy. What message, inspirational message, would you give your great great grandchildren? about how to live their life and the lessons learned that you have gone through today. That is the message, guys. That is the message, right? We're all full of stories, and I know you have an amazing story. So that's what it's all about. I also wanted to go, and I don't have my usual PowerPoint shout out today, but I do want to shout out people who are already in here. I'm big on reciprocity. So if you're in my show, you will definitely get a shout out. Mohammed, you are brand new to my show. Welcome, welcome. And then I'm also on YouTube right now commenting in there, apparently, right? And Facebook. So, Sana, what's up, sister? So, I have a show Wednesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. PST. But in July, my work schedule, I do have a full-time and a half job. Okay, it's gonna move to 9:30 starting in July. Starting next week, my show is no longer at 9 a.m. It's gonna be at 9:30 to 10:30. I have to accommodate my job. So that is what's happening. So Santa Dawn has a show with Paul, and it's tomorrow, I believe, at 10 a.m. PST. Today at 4 p.m. PST, it's gonna be Mike Asherbrenner's show, The Hounds. So if you are curious what Hounds is all about, don't make me howl. I'm not doing it. Please go and ask Mike. We are a community that engages like nobody else's, right? And we do create space for you to engage with other people that are amazing in our group. Catherine is also in the Hounds. And so that is what we are doing. And look who we're talking about. We're talking good thing I wasn't talking crap about you, huh? You're here. Darn. Catherine and I can't talk about. Well, we can still talk back. You can't talk back anyway other than in comments. Anyway, I made it. Yes, I know you are a very second one. So Sana was my first one from the Hounds. Jody, good morning. Oh, Jody's going to be coming in the show as well. And we get to know her and how amazing she is. And there she is. Yeah, right? Yeah, don't call me. Call 911 for sure. Medical disclaimer they give me when you call a doctor's office if this is a medical emergency, hang up. Yeah, no. My disclaimer is if you need anything medical, I know a lot of medical things. I'm actually a coach practitioner for cognitive behavior therapy. I'm gonna get my IO. Excuse my dog. My IO degree in psychology, which is industrial psychology degree for business people. And so I don't know how long that will take me, but I'm determined to get it. And if once my mind is set, I'm going to get it for sure. Yes, yay, we're all here. Christian, what time is it now in Nigeria? No worries, no worries. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Yes, right? Seriously. What's up, Dan? Dan and I were just having a chat too about what his work does. So I get to know him a little bit more. Okay, Dr. Brian is a medical doctor, but I don't know. I think he might be. Brian, can you put in there before I make a mistake? And then people are like, oh, so this is what you do. So Brian's going to put his comments in there on what he does, but definitely a lot of health, energy in that thing, in that element, right? So are you guys ready for my guest? Because I'm so excited.
How fun is this?
Oh my God. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Doc Leyland. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Catherine? You look amazing and beautiful as always.
Well, thank you. I'm feeling just wonderfully well. Thanks.
All right. Awesome. Okay. We have a lot of people from the Hounds here this morning. Yeah. So let's go ahead and start. I like to just start right away on thinking back. You can go back more than 20 years, but that's usually my hotline right there is find within your timeline some of the significant changes in your life that got you here where you are today.
It's very simple. I know exactly. I mean, and of course, there are several things that led up to that. But by the time I was 23 years old, I was head nurse of a small intensive care unit. And by the time I was 25, I had a major lumbar repair. I'm in this hip to breast back brace. And my prescription is to wear this brace for a year and walk at least 1 mile a day for a year. And so I've had, a vertebrae removed, 2 discs removed, they took part of my pelvis to make a fusion for me. And it's just like, I learned so much about alignment, not only inside, but outside as well. And so I'm back in Florida. I went to the beach every day, and I got up to 7 or 8 miles a day with the mantra of, this is not going to be my life. And oh my gosh, I could see that the patients that were coming into ICU were not taking very good care of themselves, a long history of whatnot. And for whatever reason, did they not know how? Had they not been taught? Did they just disregard? Did they not realize the consequences? But I had to put myself in that category too, because I hadn't been taking care of myself, right? And so I'm working way too many hours. The patients and the equipment are way too heavy. I am not the only one with this problem. And I'm like, whoa, something is way off here. And I started listening to Wayne Dyer and Eckhart Tolle on cassette tapes. And that was what got me started in learning more about the body-mind connection, and has led me to the, body-mind-spirit connection, applied positive psychology, positive intelligence. I'm studying, I'm reading all the time. I just love it. And I think that everything that I work with adults should really be part of mainstream education. It's what I call the rules of the game. And we're all fueled with universal energy, and learning to work with that, it makes a big difference. And when people are not aware of that, I think it's a disservice to them.
First of all, you deliver that so beautifully, like, oh, I had a lumbar thing and this. I was like, I'm sorry, what? I have a scoliosis. I have a mild S in my back.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I don't know if I shared this story, but the reason I couldn't get into Yale, I had full scholarship. My dad wouldn't let me go because I had some scoliosis, and my dad's not graduated college. And so he's like, you can get education in the corner over here. It's fine. It's next to the neighborhood. Yale, I don't know what kind of school that is. It looks big. It's so far away. You're not gonna go. You have scoliosis. So because of my scoliosis, I couldn't go to Yale with full scholarship. Yeah. So when you say like, oh, I just have a lumbar thing, I'm like, no, that's a big deal. Like when someone tells you that, and your perseverance and your mind was so strong and you didn't take it, you're like, nope, this is not me. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna do what I want, and I want to do this. And I want to highlight that for people, because that is your superpower, and that is what you're doing today, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing that's interesting to extrapolate a little bit further, that repair lasted 23 years, 2 natural childbirths, a black belt in karate, building stone walls, but I wore it out. And I went back for the bigger, better, newer, improved version. And I have donations from the bone bank. I have rods and screws. I have no restrictions. I can't do a back bend, but I'm happy to forfeit. But it's just like,
I don't even remember when I was a cheerleader. I don't know if I can do back bends anymore. I'm just be honest with you. I'm like, I don't think so. Nope. See, like the way you just were like, yeah, it took me 20 years. You're so nonchalant about it. I was like, see, this is the type of story that needs to be told, because it might not be inspirational to you because you lived it, but it is inspirational to other people, and they want to know, Catherine, how did you do that?
Well, it's fascinating because there's alignment involved in everything, whether it be physical or mental, when you think of how things are built and foundation, that's where the alignment really counts.
Wow, that's amazing. Before I move on to the next question, I wanted to highlight, I made an oopsie mistake. Susanna, you're right. I'm not here today. I don't know if I should say this, but I just found out one of my grandmother died yesterday, and I just found out today. So before the show, I was like, please pray for me. I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I'll be fine. So forgive me, Susanna. And Paul probably was like, it's not, you've been in this show all the time, but it's today, guys, right after my show. Susanna has a show. For sure. I love people talking about me. And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. That's true. No publicity. I mean, it's no bad publicity. There's no such thing, right? That is for sure. My next question is, can you explain the importance of balancing art and science of mental well-being in today's world?
Well, we are, energy. We're light beings. We emit light and information constantly, and that's coming to us as well. And so when you think of the science of our existence, we're all part of the universal energy. It's within us. It's all around us. When you think about it, we do not breathe ourselves. We don't make our hearts beat on our own. And learning to work with that is, I believe, an essential piece. And there's also an art to it, right? There are energy principles and universal laws in play constantly. And it's a bit like a dance. We're all part of nature. We're all expanding. We're all, nature is all about procreation and expansion and new. It's like, what's next? And there is, I believe, both the art and the science to working with this. And I think that that's part of what creates the balance. And the thing about balance is that because everything is in motion, balance is always in flux, right? So learning to be not only resilient, but to be adaptable, I think is a beautiful life skill to develop. And there is an art to learning everything, I believe.
Yeah, that word adaptable gets me all the time because, imagine like I said, it's our story, so we think it's just normal. But imagine I left all my friends, all the immigrants that, my mom was born and raised in LA, so she's American, and the rule of the law in terms of federal law is that any American who have children anywhere in the world, their kids is automatically American citizen. However, if they reach, I don't know if they have changed the age now, but if they reach age 13 or, yeah, age 13, and they haven't come and set forth in America, they are going to be a citizen of the country that they were born. They're no longer automatic American citizen. However, they can go and go through the process and get a green card because technically they're American. They just need to go through that process. So that's what I went through. When I was a baby, actually, I had an American. I wish I kept that because that's like vintage. I want to give to my kids. My baby passport when I was 2. So anybody that basically goes to different country, coming to a different country and didn't know how to speak English, it's a very difficult journey, right? And so we forget that those journey is somebody or something that we need to share. And when you say adaptability, that brought me back to I had to adapt to learn how to speak English. I had to make friends. I had to adapt to the food, the culture, the people, the language, the weather. Oh my God, it's cold in America. Okay, I live in. I'm an island girl. Like, whoa, 100 degrees is average for us, right? And it's like 60 degrees, minus 20. I'm like, no, no, because I lived in Boston, and I was like, I'm not living in the freezer. And so my husband's like, okay, let's move down a little bit to Virginia. No, same thing. No, I'm going back. I'm a SoCal girl. I cannot go there. Otherwise, I will move to Florida, but I can't handle Texas either. So all my Texas friends out there, it is way too hot. Okay. But adaptability, can you tell us what are some of the things that you do on a daily basis to put your mindset when it comes to adaptability?
Well, I also want to offer to you how well you have beautifully adapted to your situation today, the news that you received, and I offer my condolences to you and your family.
Thank you for that.
Yes. I think a morning practice is a beautiful thing to cultivate and to just start the day being grounded, being centered. And it's all contributing to what I call learning to live from the inside out. And of course, I have to say that when I started to wake up in my back brace and have been gosh, just expanding all the time. I received a download almost probably 10 years ago. People were saying, "Oh my gosh, you're just so bright all the time. What are you doing?" And I'd say, "Well, I have a high sunshine quotient." And I had never put those two words together before. And I'm like, "Oh, what's up with that?" And it is a term that refers to lighting gradients in photography and radiology. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this makes perfect sense." And so I just started, okay, that age old concept of breathing in the light. And also, realizing, of course, I have a fair understanding of, basic anatomy and physiology. And so when you take in that deep breath, you're stimulating your vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is something really important to know about because it's connected to almost every organ in your body. In fact, I was talking to a gal just the other day. She's about 10 years younger than I am. She said, "Oh my gosh, I've never heard of that before." I said, "Well, let me tell you all about it," right? Because it's important to know how you operate. And so it's, as far as a morning practice for me, it's absolutely breath work, gratitude, and intentional thinking. Who do I want to be today? What am I going to be today? Because what do I want to accomplish today? Life is way more than a to-do list. And when you start thinking intentionally, because every thought and every, emotion, every action has an energetic value to it. And so thinking of things in terms of energetic values, energetic quantity, and actually quality as well, of the words that you choose to think, the words that you use to talk to yourself, the words that you choose to be intentional about make a difference. It's what I call the ultimate mind diet, because how you talk to yourself matters. And so I think it's imperative to start the day off with, and there's this fabulous, fabulous saying. One of my mentors is Mary Morrissey, and she always has this great saying, and it's, "Knowing that words create my world, I choose words that create the world that I want." And that's where the adaptability comes in as well, because, it's that, you can plan, but things are going to change. You have to learn to adjust the sails as you go, because the wind changes sometimes. But if you're solid starting out in the day, you have much less opportunity to just be batted around by circumstance, because when you're coming from the inside out, you're very solid, and it's easy to be adaptable, easy to build that resilience as well. And when you're thinking on a positive level, more opportunities open up, because your perception, your perspectives are just so much wider. And it's just like, oh, well, what if I look at it from this angle? What if I look at it from this angle? It's just like, and you have way more possibilities than you ever thought of if you don't do that.
I'm so glad you said that, because I think Christian, he's in our show right now. He is a very young gentleman from Nigeria, and I also love the talk about energy, because I really believe that we are energy being, because sometimes it's so weird. Like, it's been happening for the last 2 weeks for me, because I'm more intentional, I think, and I pay attention closer. Is that when I feel some like bad juju, and I can tell which friend is having some weird thing happening in their life, and I would text them randomly. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" And they're like, I'm good." I'm like, "No, you're not. Talk to me." And they're like, "Wait, how do you know?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's like an empath thing. Like, I just feel like there's some energy in there." And Raquel did that for me too. She texted me out of random things, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No." Because I'm the type of person, like, if I'm close enough to you, I don't do like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and then complain about it later. Like, if you're going to ask me how I'm doing and I don't feel good, I'm going to tell you, because you asked anyway, you know? And so I love that you said that we are definitely, spirits. And I love also that you say that we are energy, because we are. And I believe in that. And I also, when I see people in the room and they're like, "Oh, wow, I love your energy. I don't know who you are." And I'm like, is it because I'm loud that you love my energy? Or is it because I have value to say? Like, what is it, you know? And they're like, well, both, but I don't really, you don't have to talk when you just come into the room. You just have that smile. And, you know, for the longest time, I never smiled. I hate smiling. Like, you see my pictures, I never smile.
Oh, that's crazy. But what's so wonderful that you're talking about this is because, your level of radiance is a direct reflection of your level of vibration, and you run at a high vibration and you glow. We both do. And so when you walk into the room, you've got that radiance, that energy that just pours out. And that's what people are picking up on.
Yeah. And when I go to parties, I'm like, okay, party starting now. Let's go. You know, like I'm here.
Yeah.
um, it's because people feel awkward and I don't mind to be awkward. I don't mind to be whatever, laughing clown. It doesn't matter to me. Like that's your opinion. And I already know who I am and I'm not perfect, nowhere near perfect. But I like to have fun. I love to have fun and I
Mhm.
love life and I work hard, like hard.
Yeah.
3, 4 jobs at a time. That's what I do. And that's how I live life. And that's how I know a lot of things. I read a lot. I research a lot, you know, and I watch movie and I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on YouTube and I'm working on my project. That's just how I work. They're like, no, there's a lot of studies on brain that you can't multitask because it actually causes something. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I've multitasked since I was 5. It's just how I was raised. Like I said, I was raised super Asian, and it's like, you know, if you're A minus, you're an F. And so that's how we were raised. And my rate, I've been growing up. It's a habit at this point. It's not even like, oh, I'm gonna try.
Mhm.
It's just it is what it is because that's my habit. So I'm glad that you said that. I also wanted to hi sister, Nicole's here. Amazing. I wanted to continue this question like how can the art of mental well-being, you kind of talk about this a little bit on self-reflection and self-awareness,
Mhm.
contribute to improving your overall mental health?
I think it's important to realize that the default of the mind is that negative bias, right? Oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? And that's almost automatic. That's part of the survival that we deal with all the time. And just knowing that makes a difference because if you think of a balance, getting back to that balance scale, and you think of the negative bias as like a stone, and it takes a lot of positive effort, a lot of positive focus. And I think a good analogy is the stone and the feathers, right? That you often see. It takes a lot of feathers to balance, and it does. It fluctuates. Your life satisfaction is going to fluctuate because, we're being pulled by this universal energy, and it's always an upward spiral. So, when we don't go with it, that causes a lot of resistance. And I think understanding that model and kind of, think about if you're the water, you're not going to wait for that stone to get out of the way. So there are just different ways of thinking of things and understanding some of these things to put together that, there are an awful lot of things that we don't need to overcomplicate, right? So I believe simplicity is, and having a basic understanding of how we operate makes a huge difference. I also love to work with people to teach them how to work with their own curious observer. In some arenas, it's referred to as a witness, looking, from the outside at a situation, or what was I thinking that led me to make this decision, or what was I doing that led me to, take this next action. And I like the curious part of it because curiosity has a little bit of mischief to it. And I think if you can get into that fun factor, I believe that life is supposed to be fun. I think life is an adventure. The only thing we ever really have is the present moment. And every moment coming after that is an unknown. We're always going into the unknown. And so I think it's important to evaluate thought processes, to evaluate what you believe your level of self-awareness is and how you can expand that, because just that little curious observer moment can give you information that you can use. And why I like the curiosity is it takes the sting of judgment out of it. There's always an option. And because we're stepping into the unknown, there's opportunity everywhere. And the more self-aware you are, the more self-assured you are, the more self-confident you are. And also understanding that you can use a little self-compassion, because we're getting new information all the time as well. So the decision that I make today may not be the best decision that I can make tomorrow, because I'll have more information by then. And so things are always in motion. And I think it's just important to have a basic understanding of many of these things and how we operate within the environment and how we react to our environment. That is important to be aware of, and that increases, the more mindful you can be, that actually increases your vibration and your level of self-awareness, which contributes to the self-confidence, the ability to step forward and say, I don't know, but here I go. Wow. There's also a knowing in saying, I don't know.
Yeah. It's okay to say, I don't know,
Right?
actually. And that's what I told my kids. I said, the more degrees I have, the more I feel stupid. They're like,
Well,
Mom,
it's not stupidity, right?
I know, that's what I feel. I'm like, how did I not know this? This is so basic, right? But I am smart enough to know that I'm dumb. It's just how it is. And I think the more people prove to themselves that they're smart, the more dumb they look. That's how I see. But I am smart enough to know I am dumb in certain things. That's not my superpower, right? And I think it's just, for me, when it comes to self-reflection, a lot of our problems really comes from our head. It's that head space that we have, right? Even our health, even our financial, it comes from our head. It's the limitations, the experiences, the thoughts that, like you said, we put into ourselves and governor. Like, I see life as a game, like a level up. I am a gamer. I love games. It's like you're leveling up to the next level tomorrow. And that's why I don't compete with anybody, even if they are better than me, smarter than me, prettier than me. Everyone is taller than me. So I gave up on that. Okay. And it doesn't matter, because there's always going to be somebody richer, prettier, younger, smarter. Why are you doing that to yourself? Stop right now. Right. And focus on, like you said, within. What do you want about you? Because don't let people write your book. Right. When you get angry, and I get angry, I used to tell my students, when you get mad, there was one gentleman just lost it in my class. I said, are you a thermostat? He's like, excuse me? And I'm like, no, you're excused, but are you a thermostat? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, your temperature is 100 degrees and you're just sweating right now. You're getting all upset, right? Are you going to let somebody else control you, like a remote controlled person? Because when he levels you up to 100, you're getting angry. If he pushes a button to 70, you're getting a temperature where it's acceptable for your attitude level. Don't let people control you. You control yourself. It is a choice that you make every single day. To me, self-awareness is that you need to know your limitations, accept it, and work on it. But don't ask for people's opinion, choices, and limitations and then apply it to you, because you can't. And like you said, make sure that you need to give grace on yourself. And I had a hard time with that too, because I grew up in a family that you have to be number one on everything. So I've been a number one on everything. It's tiring. Okay, it is exhausting. And so I gave up on that. And my family already probably tossed me aside. I'm like, I still love you, but I can love you from afar. I don't need to love you and engage with you.
Yeah.
Right. And if it's not something that you're acceptable, but sometimes you have to get out of your head. Think about it for a moment, guys. Okay. Get out of your head. Put down and think of like a cup. I don't have a clear cup. Okay. I have a teacup. Think of your junk is this tea, and you just need to keep dumping all those things in there. Look at it as negative thoughts. You have to have two cups, negative thoughts and positive thoughts, right? And you maybe write it down on a journal or a piece of notebook, right? and put all your negative thoughts and positive thoughts, and then reflect. You're still breathing. You're still above 6 feet under, above that. You're above ground today. You still have a way to make somebody smile and yourself smile.
Yeah.
So why stick to that negativity, right?
Mhm.
And I don't like to be negative sometimes, but I do like to complain. Okay, like I have sisters, I'm like, and the last 4 days I've been complaining, and I apologize for my creatives group. I'm like, I have this, and my dog's this, and this, and might happen to me, and then now I have death in the family again. I'm like, okay, I can't handle. Last year it was every month. I had my best friends and family dying, and my dog, and I'm like, I can't. This is just too much.
Mhm.
And no, now half of the year, and I'm like, okay, you cannot change something that's happening right now. Yes, it is gonna be affecting you. However, you're still breathing, so concentrate on the present.
And you have a choice to whether react, or you have a choice as whether to take in that deep breath, take a pause, and respond, to make a choice instead of that knee-jerk reaction. That makes a big difference. The research is interesting because it shows that we think anywhere between 18,000 and 70,000 thoughts in one day. And all of these studies seem to pretty much agree that over 90% of these thoughts are the same as the day before, and the day before, and the day before, and how many years before that. It just goes, in that loop. And it's what I call acceptance of belief without evaluation. And so I think it's important to evaluate what beliefs are. What are your beliefs? What are you using to govern your operating system with, right? Because many beliefs don't serve us. The other, I like to talk about the two 10%, right? That's the 110%, that 10% that's open. And the other 10% that's important to know about is that over 90% of health conditions and illnesses are lifestyle induced. And the research is also showing that there's way less genetic predisposition to many things than what they used to think. And so we have an opportunity to choose to respond to different things. And, that how we react to our environment, and that study of epigenetics is a fascinating arena as well. So I believe that knowing these things and learning how to work with them makes a big difference.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually infuse, like I used to not, like I almost died from almost having I had an infected gallbladder and it almost burst on me. And the doctor's like, if you don't take it out, you got 15 minutes to live if you get sepsis. I'm like, yeah, I've been on that road of almost dying, so let's just take it out. I don't want that anymore, you know? And she's like, okay, let's go. I'm like, tomorrow it is. And it was funny because you're like, you can't wear makeup, you can't wear lipstick. I'm like, not even lip gloss? It's dry after surgery because I already had surgery from I had a bleeding ulcer at one point too. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, fine. And the doctor just shook his head, and I was like, dude, I need something. Like, I don't want to come in and look like I was already halfway dead. Because it hurts, like the lips after they put some tubes on you, and it's like throat. I'm like, oh, I need some honey. I need some of this, and he's like,
Right.
haven't even started. I'm like, I know, but I know that after effect. I've been there, and he just started laughing. But I'm like, I'm self-aware of what I need, but it's that moment of having to reflect on your life. Like, if I can't move, I can't do anything, and I'm seeing myself like, what's your last thoughts? That is so scary for me. And you're just busy doing nonsense and getting worried about nonsense when you could have done something for yourself. And I think self-reflection is definitely something that I strive every day, and eating healthy. So I'm gonna hit up Michelina for that for sure.
Yeah.
My next question are, what are the key factors that contribute to emotional intelligence? And how can we individuals develop and improve our own skills for that?
I think developing our own self-awareness really brings out the compassion, the empathy, the ability to ask the question, how is the experience from their point of view? Because people do what they know. And it's fascinating because you're doing what you know, I'm doing what I know, you know, and when it comes down to it, we're all learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so nobody has all the answers for everything. And there's a lot of that going out, going on, I think, self-proclaimed experts, self-proclaimed, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, wow, okay. I think it's good to, certainly develop your skills, develop your, the opportunities that you can use to improve yourself and what you can share with others. But I do believe that it's really the giving, the sharing of the skills, the sharing of the knowledge, do you need a hand? It's the giving. What's fascinating is that many people are saying, well, what's in it for me? And the law of receiving dictates that it always starts with a give.
Yeah.
And I think the more open we are and the more questions we can ask and the more we can offer, but also with the understanding that we can offer, but it's up to the other person to make their decision as to whether they're going to accept it.
Mm. Yeah. My grandma used to tell me it's better to give than to receive. And I've always argued with her. I'm like, no, no, I want my gift. I don't want to give anybody a gift. I'm an only child. So I was like a little on that shellfish side. And I didn't have parents. I was like, I want that and this. And my grandma's like, no, no, it's better to give than to receive. Because what happened was we own a farm. Like we own a rice terraces. We own like a bunch of farms. And the people who lived in our farm for free because they work our farm, they would come in and bring bananas. And we see it in the store, like cut, pretty. I'm talking about a whole banana, okay? And different kinds of bananas. And when we needed eggs, we just go outside because we have like hundreds of chickens and fresh eggs, right? We need mango. We literally just shake some trees. We need coconut. We got somebody like, hey, can you get up on the tree? We have coconut. Like we have everything we needed as far as food. The only really expensive ones is the meat, but we had a farm. We had cows and goats. And so we didn't really need anything, right? The only thing we need was electricity because we didn't have electricity. We had blackouts all the time. And I love it when we didn't have electricity because grandma would gather us in the night and then she would tell us a story during the war when she was in the World War II war and the Japanese invaded. And, she would tell us, and I'm like, oh, I'm on the edge of the seat. And that was real story. It wasn't Netflix. It was her story and her life. And we loved it. And I wish that my kids would have experienced that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I love that. I think emotional intelligence for me is, like you said, being aware of your own emotions so that you can be aware of other people's emotions. And I'm also big on not being reactionary anymore. I think when I was young, I definitely had I grew up with a lot of trauma. So my first thought is always, you have fight or flight. I'm on fight mode all the time.
Mhm.
I grew up where we would eat dinner and there would be bombings and we would have to hide on our table after dinner because Christians and Muslims were fighting and we would hear bombings. We couldn't go to the theater because the last time we went to the theater, one of my friends got killed because the bomb went off. Like that was our daily thing. It was always stressful, right? And then you top it off with your family who doesn't allow you to see other people because of a certain race. It was difficult, and you think that's the only thing. And then, we're only Chinese, so we can only marry Chinese, and I married American. So then they're like, okay, you're a black sheep, goodbye. And they literally another rejection for me because my parents rejected me. Now my whole family rejected me, and I'm like, I'm done living for people.
Mhm.
I'm gonna live me and my life, and so I don't need permission from nobody when it comes to doing things. But I always come into the heart. What my grandma said is better to give than to receive, and I've always been a giver because I'm scared to even receive, and that's also bad because I tend to not ask for help even though I'm drowning of things, right? So I'm trying to find that balance. I love this, balancing the art and science of mental well-being. So my last question to you is If this is your last day on earth, what would be your message to your great great grandchildren and to the world?
To just know that everybody has a unique gift. You have a unique gift. And to allow yourself to develop that and share that. I believe the download came to me in regard to the sunshine quotient. And it's fascinating because I just love it. And so now I'm the ripple effect, right? Give a ripple. And it makes such a big difference because I think giving people the gift that they can use, the knowledge, the strategies, the tools that they can use to develop themselves, for them to empower themselves. Because we don't empower anybody. We give people things they can use to empower themselves. And just learning to live from the inside out, I think that's the real ticket. I think that's learning the rules of the game.
Awesome. And I put your LinkedIn in here in case you guys are not connected with Catherine and anybody else who's actually in the show. Connect with everybody. That is the point of the show, is to connect. Can you tell us a little bit about the art of self-craftsmanship.org?
Well, because we're all a work in progress, right? And so it's really funny. I grew up on a farm as well. And my father was this Rube Goldberg kind of guy who could build or fix anything. And precision was very important to him. And his workmanship was beautiful. And so I grew up with what I, knew as craftsmanship at a very early age. And craftsmanship has always been important to me. And I think it's important, we're basically crafting ourselves. We are, we're our own, writer, the actor, the producer, the director, all of that. And it's all about crafting what it is that we want and crafting a life to become what I call a conscious contributor. And that's what the art of self-craftsmanship is all about.
Awesome. So this is her website. If you guys want to know more information about the sunshine quotient, don't you have webinars as well?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do webinars. I'm actually starting a kids program in regard to the sunshine quotient. And Uni Umi, your sunshine ambassador, and I know, right? Uni Umi is so darn cute. And so, because and what I want to do is teach the teachers, teach the parents, teach the grandparents, get people to start talking about all of these things, because I do believe that it's a good way to introduce the basics of energy principles and universal laws and breath work and, a little bit of basic anatomy and physiology, just basic things that people can use to get started with, because nobody was talking to me about any of this when I was growing up. And I was just like, whoa, okay, that would have been helpful.
Yeah, right. And that's what I love, is that literally we are full of cheat sheets. We're walking cheat sheets, all of us. But we're
Yes.
keeping all of that until the day we exit this earth. I'm like, why? Why? We learned from the Egyptians, and we still don't know how they build it because they didn't come with the why. We live in an information technology driven society. Why not share it, right?
Exactly. And it's so fun, right? I think life is, getting back to that, life is supposed to be fun again. It's just, well, it is. Let's do that.
You have to actually participate. You can't be, the looky loos and then be jealous of why people over there in that corner is having fun. If you want to have fun, join it, right?
Right.
Join the
Absolutely.
fun. Why not?
Right. Well, and all part of, teaching kids to start thinking with intention, right? And to understand about, words and word choices, and being able we can't control all the thoughts that come to us, but not all the thoughts that come to us are true. We do have a choice whether we're going to entertain that thought or not. And we have a choice as to what words we're going to choose to work with intention, and how to be intentional, right? And so it's just like, oh my gosh. And so the concept of it for kids is, and for anybody really, because the PS on all of this is not just for kids. But, think of your mind as a garden, and what thought seeds are you planting? Because all of
Mm.
those thought seeds are going to start growing. And you might want to do some weeding.
Yeah, I unweeded a lot in there for sure. I don't know who the LinkedIn user is. Hopefully, you guys can help me put your name in there. But when you are asking with your dreams, barriers are not obstacles anymore, but something, the challenge is only no matter how much it takes, you will conquer your dreams. Alignment, balance, and adaptability. Dr. Constance and Chad love it. Yes, it is. And what I want to part with you guys today is carefully craft your words, not only to others, but to yourself. And be intentional on whatever you want to accomplish today. Forget tomorrow. Forget Friday or Monday or Saturday or 4th of July. Forget that. Live for the moment, live today. And I challenge everyone to see things differently today and be a giver, even just one kind words, either to the hounds, to the people you know.
Right?
Be kind. Just choose one word. It's like, wow, you look beautiful today. Or wow, you don't know what people are going through today. That could actually boost them. So be kind and be giving. And Catherine, you look brilliantly sunshine today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you so much and for your time.
Well, I appreciate being here. It's fun being with you. And yeah, here we go. I think that many of us are on the start of another launch, right?
Yes. So July 1st, guys. Okay.
Mhm.
Saturday is the end of it. 2 steps. Eight questions. That's it. And then 5-minute video. It doesn't even have to be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Could be less.
There you
But
go.
make sure to tell your inspirational story
Yeah.
because that's what we want. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Catherine, hold on for a minute and I will be right there.
Thank you.
All right. Aha. How did you guys like that? Catherine is so amazing. Isn't she amazing? So yes, so I'm gonna stand corrected on myself here and say that the show is actually in 2 minutes for Susanna. See that? Susanna has a show, guys, right now with Paul. Hi, Kiran. Welcome. We are about to end here. Hi, Aluku. Thank you for coming today. And I will see you guys tomorrow with a fellow educator, and so we'll have a lot of educational conversation, okay? Have a fantastic. Thanks for watching another episode of Level Up Academy today, brought to you by your none other host, Dr. Leland. Please do not forget to hit subscribe or push that notification bell so anything that we have an activity on at Level Up Academy, you will be the first one to know. If you would like to be a guest in our podcast, both on the MP3, audio only, and also here on live in our YouTube channel, please let me know. DM me. Let's connect. Have a fantabulous day. Hi, guys. Be kind today.